The way we lead impacts the way people live. This world needs truly human leadership. I'm Brent Stewart, your host. Thanks for listening. This podcast is an outreach of Barry-Wehmiller. You can connect with us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter at BarryWehmiller, and find our podcast articles and videos at trulyhumanleadership.com. You're listening to a Truly Human Leadership podcast refresher, where we reshare insight from podcast episodes from the past. This week's episode is about something that is one of the cornerstones of our culture here at Barry-Wehmiller: recognition and celebration. You're going to hear about why and how we recognize our people and get a little peek into one of our recognition ceremonies. One of the most important markers along Barry-Wehmiller's leadership journey was in 2002 when we established our Guiding Principles of Leadership, a document that reflects our highest ideals and aspirations, the fundamentals of leadership we should never forget, and the standard by which we measure everything in our business. You can read about the creation of that document and the steps we took to impress it on the hearts of our people. In the book about Barry-Wehmiller, Everybody Matters: The Extraordinary Power of Caring for Your People Like Family, written by our CEO Bob Chapman and the co-founder of Conscious Capitalism, Roz Sisodia. As we progressed on our leadership journey after the creation of the GPL, we realized there was something very important missing. And here's Bob Chapman talking about the creation of one of our most important recognition programs.
One of the things that we do, which is unique in Barry-Wehmiller, we are constantly looking for the goodness in people. We're constantly having celebrations for the goodness of people. We're trying to always hold up good behavior, not focus on broken behavior. Our focus is on encouraging people by focusing on the goodness. When we developed these guiding principles of leadership, I went up to our northern Wisconsin plant that's got about 500 people, and somebody said, "You know, Bob, you come up and you talk about these guiding principles of leadership, and we all feel good. But then you leave, and our normal behavior kind of drifts back in. Isn't there something we could do to keep it alive between this dialogue?" And I'm a car nut, and I happen to have these, at the time, these kind of crazy Chevy retro SSRs. So I said, again, like that game, I said, what if we send this car up and you all nominate somebody who embodies our leadership principles, and then every week we'll surprise somebody during the summer months and give them this car to drive for a week. It was that simple a thought. 5 years later, it is one of the most profound things we do. We now have a fleet of 17 of these cars that go around the country. Marcus has been to our Akron plant, one of our finest cultures anywhere. And I was talking to one of the gentlemen, a machinist who won the SSR. And I said, how did it feel to be recognized? The gentleman was probably 60 years old. I said, how does it feel to be recognized by your peers for your leadership abilities? And this gentleman said to me, it's nice to know after 32 years that I've made a difference. That's pitiful. If that was your father, and he worked in a place of the qualities of this gentleman, and it was after 32 years that people paused to let them know that he made a difference. And Richard Pike is a machinist in our South Carolina plant. And he said to me, I said, Richard, how did it feel to win? He said, well, first of all, Bob, I didn't think I deserved it. He said, when I was nominated, I was overwhelmed. And when I was selected as the first winner in this plant of 250 people, I was amazed. I said, well, that was a year ago. How does it feel today, Richard? He said, every day I come into work, I try to be the person people think I am now. Probably have had 250 to 300 winners over the last 5 or 6 years. And I've talked to many of them in groups. Some of the most emotional conversations I've ever had. But I'm going to generalize what people say. This is recognition and celebration. What people say is, I can't believe I got nominated, I can't believe I won, and the first thing they do is call their spouse. And if you listen to it as many times as I did, you listen to what they're really saying. They say, I called my spouse and said, you can't believe I won. But what they really are saying to the spouse is, you know, honey, you are really lucky to be married to me. Because clearly I was just picked out of 450 people as an outstanding leader. The second thing they say to me is that they took their mother for a ride. Now, it's a pretty simple statement. They took their mother for a ride, right? That's not what they're really saying. Those are the words they use. What they're saying is, I took the person, the most meaningful person in my life, I took that car over to show them the car because I want my mother to know I turned out okay. It's amazing. In all of these conversations, 9 out of 10 people say they took their mother for a ride, not their father. Why? Because our mothers are our source of goodness. And we want our mother, the guys and the girls, say they take their mother for a ride. Now, a lady who was in our IT department in Baltimore, after I gave an award one day, a lady came up to me after I just said what I said to you, and she said, Bob, I won a couple of weeks ago, and I took my daughter up into the mountains in Baltimore area, and we had a wonderful time for a week. I said, great. And she said, but I do have to tell you that my mother passed away, so I didn't get a chance to take my mother for a ride, but I will tell you that I took the car to the cemetery to my mom's tombstone to show my mother I turned out okay. What you're seeing is this profound need for every one of you and our team members to feel that their life matters. And when it feels like it matters, who do you want to tell? You want to tell your mother. You want your mother, who put up with you, to do that. So we have learned a tremendous amount. We've tapped into an incredible energy by our recognition and celebration. And it doesn't matter at what level, everybody wants to know their life matters.
Maureen Schlosky is a BarryWehmiller teammate who participated in the creation of the GPL and also has played a large role in many recognition ceremonies across our companies. Here's her perspective on how the GPL SSR events Bob talked about were accepted in the company.
Our Gpl SSR program was really the catalyst in which we could bring to life and exemplify people that really demonstrated the guiding principles of leadership every day. And it was a way for us to really shine a light on good behavior, so people would understand that it really wasn't something that people, or that the principles weren't something that was done to them, it's something that they could actively participate in. And once we started shining the light on those people that really got it, it became a lot easier for everyone to kind of just jump on board because they understood what we were trying to do. And at first, I think some people, were jealous, and other people thought, I don't want to be singled out. I don't want to be that person because I don't want to have to deal with the ridicule when I get back to my team members. And there was always, back in the early days, about, oh, you're just drinking the Kool-Aid. But once it became, I think, evident to more and more people that it really was just about the people in our organization that really care about others and put the needs of others first and really just demonstrate day to day in what they do, that it's really easy to live the guiding principles of leadership. We had people being nominated from every part of our division, and it was so easy to get 150, 180, 200 nominations every year. And I think that people just really wanted to take the opportunity to recognize their team members for the good work that they do every day. And it's just so easy. It's really not about the car, but it's really about knowing that your team members feel the way they do about you. There's just so many good ideas out there of how to just genuinely recognize people. And it doesn't have to be a big hoopla. It really is about just recognizing the person and knowing what's important to them and what drives them and where their passions lie, and just focusing on that during the recognition and celebration. And I think the other thing that's really important about this is that there's so many people from all over our organization that put their heart and soul into it, and they do it for the same reason I do, that it just makes me feel good when I see other people being recognized. There has not been one SSR celebration that I've attended that I have not cried at. Whether I really know the person well or not, it's just, I feel what they're feeling, and I'm so proud of them and so proud of how their family's feeling at that time. And it's just, why would we not do that? It's just so awesome.
Although these recognition events put the spotlight on one person, they're really not about just one person. They're also about the effort of many people working together to create something special. So we're going to take you behind the scenes of one of our GPL SSR ceremonies. Right now, you're going to hear from a couple BarryWehmiller team members while they're putting the finishing touches on a few things that will be used in an event that will take place the day after this was recorded.
Now I can make the rest of my pattern. I'm Ken Hoff, and I work for the corporate IT team. I'm the leader of web technologies for Barry-Wehmiller. The GPL program, I think I started in 2010, something like that. So 5 years, been working. I think I took 1 year off in between all that. But yeah, it's a nice, fun way to celebrate our coworkers. So,
what are you guys working on today?
well, today, as long as you keep it top secret between now and tomorrow, we're continuing to run with the theme for this year, which is write your own personal history book. And the premise behind it is that we wanted to say that, you know, even though we don't make it into the history books that kids study in school, that we do make it into other people's personal history books that they write in their heart. And so we kind of correlated that with the way that we nominate people for the GPL SSR Award. It's a strictly peer-driven nomination process, and people have the opportunity to share what their coworkers have done in a positive manner around them, and displayed the leadership characteristics that we look for from our guiding principles of leadership. And so, you know, we consider these nominations chapters in people's books. And our last event, we celebrated Sean Murphy. And we had this large bookshelf full of oversized books. And I'm talking these books were like 20 inches tall by maybe however many wide. They all varied. But we had one that was completely bound in leather that we made from scratch, had full pages, and we were able to turn it during the presentation and read out of Sean's personal history book. And bring people out that were important to him because they were chapters in his book. And so the premise of this next one, we're going to be celebrating another coworker. And it's going to be the premise that my friend Tom Lyde and I were down here in Bob's Storage 1, rummaging through all of his things down here. And we find this box full of not personal history books, but personal history books on tape. You know, that's kind of a thing from the 80s where people would listen to books on tape. And so we're building in the oversized manner, we're building like 20-inch cassette tapes out of sheet plastic. And we're making Tom, how big is the boom box?
52 inches long and 24 inches tall and 12 inches deep.
Because, you know, you need something that big to play 20-inch cassettes in. And so those will be the two major props, and we're going to involve past winners to help us kind of welcome in the new winner tomorrow and have his family in. Oops, I broke the secret there. Have his family in and help us celebrate him by people playing their personal history on tape. So should be a blast.
Year after year, you guys, there's different themes for all this. Tell me about some of the past year themes.
Well, last year was kind of a unique one in the mix. We created a theme about Barry-Wehmiller having this weird laboratory. And I had the opportunity to write a 3 or 4 part serial based with a couple of nutty professors that were a couple guys that work here.
One year you made movies, didn't you?
Yeah, we had, the theme was your favorite movie. And so we would find out, you know, talking to the winner's family or friends, what their favorite movie was. And we built a set around their favorite movie. Like our first winner that year, her favorite movie was The Sound of Music. And so we built the entire, Von Trapp family's mansion inside our atrium on the 3rd floor. And
how much time do you guys spend working on this stuff?
You don't want to know.
Do you want to answer that one? Well, you know,
It kind of depends. The Top Gun one took a lot of time. Probably a week worth of work.
That's total 40 hours.
Yeah.
Sometimes we will break off halfway through the day and come down and work. Other times we'll work till 11 o'clock or midnight down here after hours. And but yeah, it's probably a week of just prop building. I mean, there's a lot of other stuff that goes on. You know, contacting the family members, setting up any kind of lunch or food you're going to have, or you know, finding special gifts for them, or writing a script about what's going to happen. You know, it's a lot of prep work. We try to give ourselves at least a month or two of prep work per celebration, but you know, our company's growing. Each one of us have a huge workload, so it's been a challenge to try and work everything in. So I could tell you easily the past couple of years we run right down to the last second with preparation and getting things ready. And so by the end we're ready to, you know, like fall in a chair and not get out again. But it's still worth it to see the look on the winner's face and to see them understand that people appreciate what they do here. And so you know, I can speak for myself, but I think Tom and Tammy would agree that all this is worth it, so that somebody, I mean, we're burning memories into people's minds for the rest of their lives. And I mean, we have their family in, and their family still talks about it for years and years.
Right now you're going to get a taste of what a Gpl SSR recognition ceremony at Barry-Wehmiller is like. You're going to hear an edited version of a ceremony honoring Brian Wellinghoff, one of the partners of the BW Leadership Institute, and afterward, you'll get a little bit of feedback from a couple of people who attended the ceremony. But to start things off, here's Barry-Wehmiller Group President and a member of our Board of Directors, Tim Sullivan.
Thanks for coming out to support this celebration and the leader we plan to recognize today. It was because of your nominations that in a few minutes, the winner will be standing here among us with an award in hand and keys to a really cool car to drive for a week. I can tell you from personal experience that today's winner will be on cloud 9, and it will be a day that they will never forget. Not necessarily because of the award, but really because his peers nominated him for this award, and our award committee, looking at the nominations, felt that it was truly important to recognize this person for their contributions to our company, for being a leader day to day, and that part is really special. A little over a month ago, we recognized Sean Murphy. Where are you, Sean? Come out and wave to everybody. We recognize Sean with this award by reading from your personal history books that Ken and Tom had found down in Storage 1 while snooping. Did I say snooping? I meant carefully browsing Bob Chapman's collections.
You'll never ever believe what we found downstairs. All right, we found a few more personal history books, and that was all great and fine. But we found something a little more technically advanced.
I'm almost afraid to ask.
Well,
Ken, what's in the box there?
well, beyond just the regular books, we found some books on tape. So we found another book on tape. And these are the personal history books from Matt Wyatt. And Matt's going to talk to us today in one of the chapters on his book on tape about our SSR winner for the day.
The first line of our GPL states, a clear and compelling vision embodied within a sustainable business model which fosters personal growth. I can think of no one who lives, encourages, fosters, and promotes this stronger than Brian Wellinghoff. From his involvement in the awards committee to the sales motivation programs to the Leadership Institute to the acquisition team, Brian's incredible passion and analytical ability helps ensure we have a sustainable business model that fosters personal growth in all aspects of our environment. There's a reason the term sustainable business model occurs at the top of our GPL, and Brian is such an integral part of the people team, ensuring we are contributing to that model that feeds into cultural horsepower. Brian also personifies the rest of the GPL as well. In his daily interactions, he creates a foundation of trust, not in what he says, but in his actions. Our GPL further states, leaders are called to be visionaries, coaches, mentors, teachers, and students. I believe this perfectly describes Brian.
Now, Brian, Matt wasn't the only one that had something on his personal history book on tape. So everyone, please welcome, all the way from Ohio, the authors of the book on tape. We are well and happy to be Brian's parents, Mark and Rita Wellinghoff. Ladies and gentlemen, straight from Brian's house, the authors of We Love You, Brian's wife Kristen and his two sons Luke and Paul Wellinghoff. So, Brian, we thought that since we heard everybody else's book on tape, that we would give you an opportunity to record a little book on tape yourself. So I'm going to press stop here and press record. And so now you can share on the recording what this feeling's like for you.
It's overwhelming, and so a lot of things are running through my mind. The first one is kind of funny, is that I just texted my wife and told her that my car barely started this morning, and it's in the shop right now, so this couldn't come at a better time. So she probably just got that text in there. The other is, it was an honor for me to be here to recognize Sean Murphy, for the first award, and it was felt like such a gift to have a chance to recognize him, and it's just so overwhelming to be in this position today. We wouldn't be here without the work of hundreds of people throughout the organization that make the SSR program what it was. And so from an idea of let's give Bob's crazy cars away, like 10 years ago now, to what it's become, and I couldn't be more honored to join the shirted people around the room that have won this award in the past. It is a tremendous group, and I couldn't be more honored to do that. I guess the other thing I would say is I like to give a lot of myself to life because I think that's how you get the most out of it, and I feel that's what I've been called to do with my life. And I love to give my life to these people that are next to me, but it's also been a joy to give my life in different ways to each of you in the process over the last 12 years. Sometimes balance is a challenge for me, finding those opportunities, but it's because we've got now more than 8,000 people around the world whose lives we touch. And sometimes I'm thinking about that person up in Phillips, Wisconsin right now, or in Europe, or wherever it might be, and the difference we can make in their lives. And I'm proud to have been part of a meeting the last couple of days. We have a lot of our CPD directors in from throughout the organization. We as a people team, we as a St. Louis organization, we as Barry-Wehmiller are making a lot of difference in the lives of people. And if I've done that in a small way, I'm so proud to work alongside each of you to make that happen. So thank you so much for this recognition today.
And I am an operations specialist at Barry-Wehmiller University, and I've been here for a month and 1 day now, and so this is my first SSR award to get to see kind of happen. I just missed the last one, and so I worked with Brian, and so it was great to be able to see him being awarded. He was actually someone who came to mind when I was thinking of who could I imagine in my team that would be so deserving of this award, and he was the first person to come to mind. And it was really cool to see him coming down the stairs and how he just seemed like kind of the
It's an incredibly humbling experience as a senior leader to be recognized by the organization and by my peers, and it was breathtaking. It was as much about my family as it was about me. I was very proud. My family surprised me. It wasn't about the award. It was about the recognition and how it makes you feel and how warm it warms your soul and empowers you to do it for others. And as I've watched the program, and as now as a senior leader in my company, preparing for presentations to award other people the highest recognition in our company, it is so much more meaningful to me to give the award to someone than it was to receive it. As meaningful as it was for me to receive it, it's unbelievably meaningful to give it to someone else and see how it changes their life and unlocks their potential of who they really are and who they can be. And we just see it over and over and over again, as we did today, with another recognition of a senior leader who's contributed so much to the company. And through this recognition, he'll contribute even more. And that's not the purpose of it, is to recognize him as an individual. But it's a very, very meaningful and rewarding program.
Don't forget to find us and connect on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter at BarryWehmiller. And you can find more podcasts, articles, and videos at trulyhumanleadership.com. I'm Brent Stewart. Thanks for listening.